Welcome to Clean Communities. I am Sayram Abla D'Souza. Today, Clean Communities goes free range. We are not talking about rearing organic poultry, but rather we want to highlight the worrying lack of sanitary facilities in our country. 5.7 million people in Ghana defecate in the open, like this place. Today, our focus community is Bidiem in the Ashanti region. Our citizen journalists, Samuel and Emmanuel, say the bomber latrine in the community has finally, fortunately, been demolished, and the 20-seater biogas toilet facility has been opened to the community. However, this does not solve the open defecation problem.
Television yields results. Last year, Abla Sayram D'Souza unearthed Bidiem, a suburb of Obuasi, in her mine community tour. 12 months down the line, this is where we are. Unit Committee Chairman for the area, Emmanuel tells us how they got this toilet facility and how it is maintained.
The toilet was demolished by AGA, Anglo Gold Ashanti. They brought the people here, so they built the toilet. When the toilet spoiled, I went them and come and make the new one for us. And because of water problem, it was not open. Water problem. So I have to use my own money to construct the toilet, the water, and everything. The tank was built by AGA. Only the water, the worm I built myself. So now we are using it. On November we started using.
How much does it cost you to get the water to the place?
Oh, about almost 40 million together with the pump, everything. The water pump, 4,000 Ghana cedis. I contract my own money. Yeah. It is not enough, but we can't rush anything. Everything is by, if you want something from AGC, it is a slow motion. You can't force them.
What have the people in the community been telling you about, how they feel about the toilet situation?
It is excuse me to say, because of literacy, some didn't go to school and other, so they didn't bother anything. I have 4 toilets in my house. My house is 4. Because of something I have helped them, but still they don't respect. They don't do that as I have done something for them, so me, I don't check them. If you do something better for them, they don't care. You see, if you go to the toilet, all the flashing people has been spoiled. Within 1 month, everything has spoiled. The flashing.
Why?
See, they haven't used one before. Some toilet, they stand on the toilet self. Instead of sitting down, they just jump up and stand on it.
Can I ask you this question? Did you consult the people in this community when you were going to put up this facility? Did they have their say on the kind of toilet that they want?
The toilet?
Yes.
Oh, AGC have been coming here all the meeting about.
Now I'm talking about the people who live here.
Now they know. They told me they don't have toilet, so they didn't toilet. So I have to help to get the toilet.
Did they say they wanted a WC?
Yeah, they want to. But if you go now, as Ghana now, you can't go and make fitu for them again. You have to make WC. That will help the people.
Yeah, but there are certain type of toilets that those who want to let me finish. It's not KVIP. There are some WCs that you can use little water as a cup of this thing. You don't need to go and climb it. It's just like the FE team.
No, that one I don't know. Only this one I know.
This 20-seater water closet biogas toilet facility built for them by mining giant Anglo Gold Ashanti is not enough for the more than 500 people in the community. Their situation is made worse because the people of neighboring Yamso have no toilet facility. Thus, they have to share this with Bidiem, putting pressure on the already overloaded toilet facility. While residents appreciate these results, they want more.
kotoko hono ya me ko
hono to sen
ahani ni hono na hono enye kra
na ukwa senda na ukwe
senteno ji ho pa
uko yi watare aso
uko yi watare
na upa ana hana sen
aseno mi bana so se mi matare na ko ti ya haya kama che hono
sina fie no na me gomu
so ko eso ko kotoko boni
sa toilet no toilet ndi ne bi wase antina e wana na yeko na e wana nye sa wa yo ko so na na aju hu nyina kama so do ko na de intimate mu nya da be he blouse ko da and we want to man na wo ba na yese wasi una unti bangulo adem when do me ma eden ke ne je pa and so afi e chiri no obi kura kwa toilet ni yo on flash na okọ enti mi a mi gina he die metenya ya ti me ba na ma flash ni nyina ansa na makom fie afi de chiri bubu ade ni nyina enti wo ba je sa wo de su wo sa rubber mu so na ade akogum enti mi se me kwana se mi de bum na anko ya mi sa se bi mkogum
toda hati me bon ma chese aji so she de munti mi fie me patch of flash na ma say so ma flash go ma nshia ba mi toilet na bon ena bi so shi wura na mframa na fa ba se dia egu ha akopum so be she wi.
The poor sanitation situation remains the same. Citizen journalist Samuel Ocher reports that after the demolition of the old bomba latrine, the place has become a dumping site for residents of the twin communities, BDM and Nyameso.
We are at BDM, a suburb of Boise. I'm here reporting as a citizen journalist. My name is Ocher Samuel. I'm reporting on the health and sanitation situations going on in the town. Their old toilets have been demolished, but the debris are still there. People have viewed this site as a refuse dump, day in, day out there. So we are going all around to ask people why and the suffering that they are possessing on this site.
Our one ball, Kwan, a honor, or quite the Diago, or crack our honor. I dare say, one a month for two bore good. Yebu no cry, and one and still comfort neighbor to go on more. Some of your young baby, my crowd.
Yeah, I wouldn't dear. In fact, a bubu janabiano, the end the Nanka was a woman and say, your sister. Sir, you know, Politan, Yatu to a good honor, Finon, a Gurana, a dumping of honor, Nanka was home besa. But Oma, maybe bisa. Until I don't know the Hungu community, no so. Almost Hashahana and Ajo. We shall near such a chill for Frabeca. So far as I didn't go on there, nature on ADP count, a too big goose.
Now, I said the next and I do not modeba. Now, if I do, debate and Omotu in when you go on a Janajo.
Well, Omonim said, daytime they or the bar, a beer, and movie with him. I question no, and a pamno, and Tiana do no more to go.
Neither town has a permanent place to dump their refuse. Residents go out from midnight to the early hours of the morning to dump their refuse because they know that when caught, they will face the music. But that's not all there is to the BDM open defecation and poor sanitary conditions story. Have you heard of flying toilets, otherwise known as wrap and throw? Well, this is common at BDM. As you walk around BDM, never pick up a black polythene bag because it most likely is full of human excreta. This lady takes care of the newly built biogas toilet facility and she tells us about her job.
Na so obi de e kana na dwa bra woni ha na o mra woti meto so obi eja na esisi ana
dabi ne momuno bintu toilet no me kwa mitu ha na ha se de no mintu na we nsonso mintu ntine pan bo fa ne si na chese wotuma ide no aba ana me yen
na me pa cha mo de jiska na
paper na de me jiska 2000 na nimpe bia ba won kete paper de a me fa mam wotumi koso free
na 2000 mo jeje no butai bait am jeje sika no
okay ejuma no na oche bi say omo ye ma wono no nsuo no omo tui no ai se no kom kakra nti oboso de boa eti ni sika no ansa na bia na so wanye ni sanso a omo betumi ase toilet no entem nti onso no tui ameka 1 month
oboso me tui akasen
day o mami 2 cities eda 1 month so mami 1.2
tina e kabo mana se usika no kwani mu kakra na etimi son oni obusua
asemi din
na oye enipa betimi akase tia no nso unya bi wa ha na
ene de nye easy nso no nya ho abotre pa me frase ma nkwala se be bu apemfo omo ba me yoba me yatema me ye ma mo bu onso na oyare me ye de mom na guess no na ya na eham se me metumi ayom ho dwuma edede amo.
How about the janitor?
Me horo float no me san horo yinu toilet no yina
to the bia how many times now obey you more han de bia oba impressing
mienu
anopa ni enwumre
me ba machi 5:30 na me san ba 3 and 4 na me san ba clean baby
nti oba na okono samba ya na etisen
me mambra ndi ajima no ope oye ndi anyase bire wom obi oba wani awan flat na me no tumi ko obi wo ha awan flat na me no tumi ko nti ana ayeme program ame nti mo se mo be yini yi amame nti mo ni wi ana mo flat amame nti anwara no.
Clean communities will update you on the progress being made by the residents of BDM as they move from what they themselves agree is a filthy suburb of Obuasi to a cleaner, healthier environment.
It is quite obvious you need to answer to nature's call. Attending to nature's call and where to do it has evolved over the years. Even now there are automated toilet facilities. But interestingly, in Ghana, some people still go back to nature to respond to nature's call, open defecation. To help us in today's discussion is the Executive Secretary of CONIWAS, Mr. Benjamin Arthur. He's here to help us understand what is really happening on the ground and not what is on paper. You're welcome.
Pleasure.
What is the open defecation status of this country?
It's very bad in terms of the numbers, and I usually prefer to go behind the statistics to give the absolute numbers. In fact, we've just received the latest joint monitoring program report, the international level, and Ghana is still stagnant at 14% of our population having access to what we call improved latrine. In terms of open defecation, which is the center of your discussion,
yes,
we're having about, almost a quarter of our population. We look at around 5 million people defecating in the open, in the drainage, along water courses every day. About 5 million people. So just imagine, even if one person should do 1 gram, the quantum of virus and bacteria in these phases spread around by 5 million people a day tells you the enormous challenges that we're having with the open defecation we're having. So on the ground, it's a issue of, I won't call it crisis, but it's of enormous proportion that we all have to put our hands to the wheel to find solution to it.
From what we have noticed, open defecation seems to be on the rise. Why? What aren't we doing right over the period? At least we should be bringing it down a bit.
It's a number of reasons. One, from the governmental point, or we have all the policy, all the laws. The district assembly have their bylaws, which one, they cannot enforce. They are not enforcing the bylaws. and where it is being enforced because of interference. Someone is arrested by environmental health officer defecating in the open in the attempt to prosecute the person. Someone intervenes. So somewhere along the line, the person is set free. And if you set such free without punishment, the likelihood of repeating that activity is great. And we've done it so much over the period that it has become a norm. Accepted in our community that if someone is defecating in the open, we see it as a normal thing. I mean, if you dare raise your voice, it's like you are seen as a deviant. I mean, you know the Ghanaian parlance too known. So we see and we even don't want to talk about it. So the behavior of our people, our own people, is a critical factor in this. If we see it as a normal thing and we don't want to talk about it, we will continue to do it. So at the individual level, at the household level, we have houses which by law, all houses should have latrine facilities. But we are living in houses where there is no latrine facilities. And the tenants who are paying the rent don't even know it's their right to demand for the facility in the house. How can you live in a house where there is no latrine? You walk out and go and queue in a public latrine. Where you don't have public latrine, you go and defecate in the open. So our attitude and let's leave things to lie as it is also a big factor. The other side I see is from the governmental side, because most of the facilities, the technology we have is the type which get full and we have to evacuate. Now when we evacuate, where do we dump them? So in Accra here, you talk of the biggest open defecation, which is the Lavender Hill. A couple of months ago, EPA sent AMA to court, and we're still monitoring that process. It means as a city, we don't even have treatment facilities. So those who are living in what you call the plush houses and residential areas
are also engaging
and theirs is a bit worse than those who go and do, because that is a mass, a critical mass of open defecation that we are doing. And let's go to the regional capitals, the district capitals, the relatively larger towns, and find out how many of these towns have treatment facilities. So we could even say all the towns are covered with sanitation facilities. But when it is evacuated, where do they send it? You go to some places, they've just dug holes and put them inside. They don't treat it. When it rains, it means with the rains and it drains, filtering into the system, into our rivers.
Interestingly, most of these communities drink from wells.
Yes. Shallow wells get polluted. In fact, they've just finished what we call the Sanitation and Water for All conference in the US. And my understanding is that the chief economist of the World Bank is saying if our ministers, if countries with sanitation and water challenges, the ministers, if they want to be smart, where they have to put investment is in the area of sanitation. They have to prioritize sanitation, because if you don't do that, then you spend a chunk of your resources in the health sector. So instead of doing the preventive aspect of the health, you are now doing the curative aspect, because most of the water and sanitation diseases, most of the diseases we find in our hospital today are related to sanitation and water. So for us, what we're trying to do is to raise the awareness for our government to invest in the preventive mechanism. And we all know if you invest about $1 in sanitation, the return is between $3 to $10. I mean, what kind of economics do you want again? So we think the problem, the challenges are from the three levels: from the governmental level, from the district assemblies level, and from the individuals living in the household and in our communities. I went to a community where someone was arrested for defecating in the open. She was sent to court. The court, they prosecuted the person. They found a 400 in default case, go to jail for 6 months. Within that time, 1 week, the community became open defecation free.
So that is a way
which means that the law, if we allow it to work, will solve most of the problems that we have in the area of sanitation.
Should we bring back town council?
The town council is there. That's what we now call environmental health officers. They are there, in fact, they are there up to the sub-district level, area council level.
From what I've seen going round, I don't think they're really working.
It's not that they are, in terms of the numbers, they are not up to. Then they also require logistics. They don't have. In fact, if you look at the budgetary allocation to the ministries and agencies, the recent analysis that we've done, both water and sanitation, we're spending less than 50 Ghana cedis per person per year on sanitation and water. What kind of benefit will you get if you make such an investment compared to education, where we are doing around 400 Ghana cedis a year? Water and sanitation, we're doing around less than 50 Ghana cedis. So this is the challenge that we are having. So in the area of investments, we are not doing much. Even where we have put the money in, we have made the budgetary allocation. The releases of the money to the agencies and the department is not going. Tracking last year revealed that for most of the budget allocation for last year, what they paid was for wages and salary. No money for goods and services, no money for investment. So that what the goods and services, the papers and other things, the fuel they will use to go to the field. So if you don't give the person the fuel, the motorbike will be there, he cannot go. So that is the challenge what you call the tankers or the Sama people are facing. The other challenge is also the interference. They arrest people, they are ready to prosecute. There's some big man, big woman somewhere pick a telephone. That is my brother, sister's son. So can you, and let's talk about it. Because some of them also don't have the confidence and they are afraid of their position, their work. Then they also live it like that. You don't encourage such a person to do much in terms of his or her work. So these are the critical challenges that we have in the sector, we have in the system that is not helping us to increase our sanitation coverage.
So it's an issue of big men interfering, attitudinal problem, and also monetary problems, people not getting the right budgetary allocation. Benasa has a way to calculate the open defecation statistics, and we'll get that information when we come back. Clean Communities is in association with Star Ghana. The 5 million people defecating in the open, I know that you have a way to calculate.
It's not a way to calculate. It's a simple. That's why I say I would like to, because we have different levels of our audience. So we want people to understand as much as possible the reality on the ground. We're talking of 5 million people every day. And the point is that if you have one person even going a day for 1 gram, I mean shitting 1 gram per person, that is 5 million. One morning, one day, 5 million grams of, let me use the word that we don't want to hear, shit. Every day. I'm not talking of the sizes, I'm not talking of the color. But the point is, it means in a week, count the week to be 5 days. That one, you're talking of 25 million grams. Yes. 25 million grams. That's what we're talking about. The reason why we don't see the importance of this or the seriousness of this is that it is spread. You don't find them in a place. So you don't see the magnitude. But imagine, even let's use a simple rough calculation. The 500-liter bottle of the water bottles. That's five. So if one person every day we are doing 5 million, 5 million of that bottle.
Wow.
5 million of that bottle. In a week, you're doing 25 million.
And some people do it 2 times a day.
I'm not even bothered about that. Let's averagely one person once per person per day. So then you follow it through in a month, because a month then you are having 100 million grams, because 25 times 4. And that is the challenge that we have. So when it happens like that, because we don't see them together, we don't see it as a problem. But when you have gone to a place like Lavender Hill, and we have these trucks, which can take about 5 to 10 tons, 5 tons, 4 tons of fecal matter, and in a day about 200 dumping at Lavender Hill, then you will see the problem, the size, the magnitude of the problem. So when there are diseases related to water sanitation, we don't actually try to find where the problem is coming from. It's coming from our houses, it's coming from our communities, and it's coming from the places that we have dumped the latrine. You see, we worked on a project, one of our members, there was a project they called Sanipa, and they try, at last year, one of our conferences, in the Mole conference, presentation were made. The research tried to track the pathway of the contamination. And some of the projects have even gone to the communities, look at the food that they are, the food crops that they have grown, how it was watered. They followed the chain up to the market where it's being sold, and they have tested and have fecal matter in the food crops. I'm not raising an alarm, but that is the challenge we have on our hands. We look at most of the places in the city where they are growing vegetables. What water are they using to water these vegetables?
The ones from the gutter.
The ones from the gutter. Meanwhile, most of these areas we are doing open defecation. So what are we talking about? So these are the challenges that we have in our hands. And as a nation, we have to be serious with these challenges and find solutions to them.
We have a lot of good things on paper, policies here and there. Why are we not able to meet the things we put on the paper?
For that one, I think I give our government the credit and the sector as a whole credit. In fact, when we go to some of these international conferences and we display our materials, our policy documents, our strategies, and other countries, other organizations pick them, they say, wow. But when we make a presentation and we tell them that we are at 14–15%, they say, how can you have these documents and you are still at 14%? It means we are not being able to translate all those good ideas that we have on paper onto the ground. And one is the will. The will is not there, because if the will is not there, if the will is there, we'll make the necessary budgetary commitment. And some of these things, as I said, it's not an issue of budget, issue of attitudinal change, which means that we should have the basic laws which we have to enforce. Go to the district assemblies. Some of them have the laws, they have gazetted them. Enforcing, which does not actually require much resources, is not being done. So if we have such an attitude from the household level to the national political level, then we'll still have these challenges.
MDG Goal 7 on sanitation, will we be able to meet it?
Interestingly, that's an interesting question, but from my calculation and the organization I work for our calculation, nationally, we know, the government also know that we have missed the target. Because if you are doing 14%, if you track it, every year we are doing 1%. And if you are, in fact, the next year is the end of the goal. It means at this rate and 54%, we need 40 years to reach the goal for sanitation. And when we have reached the 40 years, 54%, it means we need another 46% to everybody, cover everybody. Then it means we need another 50 years. So if we want everybody, even given the fact that population remains constant, we need another 80 years to cover everybody with basic sanitation in this country.
That's to say, if we are willing to wait for, if we are able to wait for 80 years, then there is hope. If not, we should give up.
Give up? I'm not the type who like fights and run away. I mean, when the fight goes tough, you have to develop new ways of meeting the challenge. I think we have the capacity to meet the challenge if we make the necessary commitment and ensure that whatever we say we're going to do, we'll do it. Why would you commit more resources for curative health while you can use little resources for preventive health to reduce your health bill? These are some of the simple mechanics approach that we can adopt to improve our sanitation and hygiene education. Other than that, our health bill will still go up and the diseases will not go, because we are addressing the symptom of the problem rather than the root cause of the problem.
Is there anything else you would want to add to this whole discussion?
What I want to say, or what I want to add, is not a new thing, but just to repeat that at our household level, at our community level, the traditional authorities have some power. They have, they have what they call some values which were helping to promote hygiene environment in their communities. Where are these values? We can bring them back. The traditional leaders should take the steps, the initiatives, at least at your community level, enforce the laws in your community. Because if most of our traditional leaders can say, hey, today we are not doing this, if a community member is caught in this act, this is the punishment that we are going to mete out to that person. If the community agrees, they will find a way of enforcing that law, that mechanism. So it's also on the community members and the traditional authorities to do more. Yes, we all look up to the government, but government is also us. So individually, we have a role to play. If you are living in a house where there is no latrine, you have to work something out with your landlord to make sure that latrine is provided. It's cheaper for you to have latrine in your homes than to walk outside and even a queue. And that is the challenge we have with the public latrine. That is why it's not working. It's designed for a certain number of population, like those who are coming to the market and going. So they have a threshold. But when we leave our houses and go and use it as a household latrine, we definitely exceed the threshold. Then it starts smelling. We were talking of the bomber latrine.
Yeah.
Yes. It starts smelling, and we say the latrine is bad, the KVIP is not good.
Sometimes it blows up.
It's not that the KVIP is not good. It's the management of the facility which is creating the problem. It's designed for 10 people, then 20 people are using it. What do you expect? If it's expected to get full 10 years, it means 5 years it will get full. It starts smelling by the second year. So these are the simple things we have to educate ourselves. We have to let people understand that whatever happens, let somebody defecate here. A fly sit on it. You don't know next time when you are meeting that fly. Somebody is from the toilet, doesn't wash the hand. You meet you, we greet you, like the men. When we shake hands. You don't know where the person is coming from. And that is how we're moving ourselves. That is how we've been managing ourselves. So definitely we're spreading our diseases among ourselves. So the challenge is for us, the individual. If we're able to stand up on these things, I think we can hold the government also to account for his component of of the work.
To get it working, traditional authorities would have to do what they have to do, and we as individuals must also take responsibility for our actions. Mr. Arthur says follow the food chain, and you realize that where your food is coming from, even the water they used to, the gardener used, has some amount of feces in there. Clean Communities in association with Star Ghana. This has been our discussion segment with the Executive Secretary of CONUAS, Ben Arthur.